I was talking about the prophecy because if you look at the EU leaderboards of who's on first place, if you look at the match history of Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo, it is almost identical. They just need to go through this one last game of the day. But what you've also seen, Monster, is a lot of jumps up to the top spots on that leaderboard. We will not crown an FNCS champion today, but the goal is to get as close to the top as possible to give yourself an easier day tomorrow.
It's crazy because we're basically 1 day away from one of the most iconic FNCSs that we may ever have, especially for this year. This is going to be one for the books here. But again, still many games of Fortnite left in front of us. For Coop, he's already situated. Jumping over to Noah W plays here in his drop spot. He's kind of mixing things up. Leaning back towards the Magic Mosses. This has been his bread and butter. The Tick Fuse and Maniac also, of course, contesting them here. So this final game, they're looking to kind of play this one out, opting to disengage just ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think ever since that first couple of games where they are actually fighting it out off of spawn, both teams taking a little bit of a slower approach, get some loot, don't necessarily engage right out of the gates, and give yourself, honestly, a fighting chance. But it does look like one team has priority over that black market than the other. So it's going to be a little bit of extra loot there, but back on over the bridge fight. 6 out of 6 games so far. These two teams have been going at it with just floor loot right out of the gates.
Yeah, this is one that is basically, there are no winners here other than the short-lived victories of your points you're farming up off the gate. This time around, seems like Prom Donnie and Joji are getting their clap back.
I think it's just Yusef by himself across too. Last one left. I do think there's at least another knock. I do think I see an X in the minimap. So 3v1 situation here. Really wouldn't wish it on everybody, especially it is the last game of the day, and it's really going to set the tone and the pace going into tomorrow, depending on how you approach the situation. But Yusef going all in, and he gets sent all the way back down to the lobby.
Things are going to come to a close for Phenom's trio here and now. They're just going to have to reevaluate tomorrow, right? Like, what do you do when you have a drop spot that's kind of not going in your favor? It's one of your first FNCS appearances, right? You really do want to hit the drawing board.
Business as usual over on this side of things, though. Crime City. They land over towards that server room. They get the train, and then they get all of this black market. And through most of these games, except for maybe one of them, it's been Cold kind of basing up on top of this Crime City black market, getting a lot of their surge at the top. This time switching a little bit of the roles. Ritual is going to be the leader of that one this time around. And you're seeing everybody sticking to the game plan. Or at least everybody that we know inside of the top 5 just sticking to the early storm surge strategy.
Just got to work on maxing out these materials here and then get straight back to fishing for tags, of course. Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs. Even with, again, how great of a day they've had, those victory royales have not come for free by any means. They've all been battled from the low ground, right? These are very impressive wins.
Looking on over into the distance towards Crime City. Oh, Peterbot actually sneaking up. This is second place on first place, Monster. Something I didn't expect. And they're both solos as of now. It is going to be Higgs versus Peterbot, but obviously Higgs' help is going to come a heck of a lot quicker than anybody would expect because they're already there. But Peterbot with the high ground, trying to take the upward approach, jumping on top of Clix, just doesn't land the shot though. Where is his help? Where is his reinforcements? They're too close behind, and there's nobody that's really taking advantage of it.
And this is what happens when you get too comfortable. Peterbot here trying to really take this game, this tournament, and put it into his own hands. And you can see Cold putting shots in from the side as well. So the reinforcements are starting to arrive. Clix is on the run here. No HP left for him. And let's not forget those other trios that have been also looking around for tags here are going to start focusing backwards now. A little heal goes off for Clix there, but he is off. And Peterbot is hot on the heels right now.
Yeah, everybody talks about contesting in Game 12. We wanted it out of Queasy and Thomas at the Global Championship. We got it out of Queasy and Venno at the Invitational, and now we're getting it to end Day 1. Frankie was right on EU. Are we not watching Day 2 already as clix goes down, and they're letting him know it was us. It was second place. It was the ones that are on your heels.
And Yamzo is still alive on the outskirts, but my gosh, talk about a turn of events right now. He's all that is left standing here. Jacob, how can he claw back from this one? I mean, there's only a couple of options. Do you think Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual have thought it all out?
I think this is a bold Peterbot call. I think they did think this one out. I think maybe they were saving it for Day 2. But with all the confidence that's being built right now, they say, why not take it under our own control? And Kelly said it, or Vivid, in Major 1, they were down 90 points going into Day 2. Now with them taking down 2/3 of the first place team, this is the best shot that they have to get the lead going into Day 2 themselves.
You know what's the best part about this? The difference between Peterbot, Ritual, and Cole's team and Clix's trio is that this team's already going to Global Championship. They can just focus on being the champions of this major right now.
It's just a confidence move. That's a move I feel like 99% of Fortnite players talk about, but only 5% even have the confidence, if that, to do it. But they reboot into Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual territory over towards Crime City. There's a lot of scraps left behind because you got to think, Monster, how fast they actually made that rotation on over to Lone Wolf to take this fight. So in theory, there should be a lot of loot left behind for the rebooted players.
I was just thinking, like, does he have enough gold, right? Of course he should, given that they land here at the Crime City. Look at this. Cold is sitting there, though. They are thinking about camping the card because, you know, you never know, right? Just in case he comes back, they're just waiting there. But he's picked up the information. I think they figured it out. And they're looking to key right back into it, probably going right back to the Crime City just to go ahead and investigate, see what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm not sure the likelihood of them actually hearing the reboots this far away. But there's only so many places, if you're a Yamzo, you could run and actually try to backtrack in order to go ahead and try to get that reboot. And an uncontested POI, because you know exactly who took you down. That would be one of the first guesses here, but you're seeing a lot of the early game action break it down this time around. Rise down to just a chunk of HP. Reunites on with Yapko. The scanner goes down. Positions will be revealed in a few seconds, but it's the time they need to buy to let that be a possibility. And that happens. So Yapko is going to have an extra angle, building space towards the other side of that box. And make sure that when they do eventually fight or disengage out of this situation, they're healthy enough so they don't get taken down.
Hiding on the wrong qualification right now for globals because they need these points and they can't afford to fall here in game 6 now on day number 1. So far, it's looking great for the Major 2 finals performance here for Japco, Rise, and Muzz. And Jacob, they have really been turning online after those first 2 games didn't go their way. They have never looked back.
It almost makes you wonder why they even broke up as a team to begin with, because this is almost like the same pace in Major 1 that they were at. Obviously, the first couple games may have been a little bit smoother for them, but they picked it back up and keeping themselves in that global championship spot qualification conversation. And I think they have finally found them. Peterbot's been on the chase ever since that reboot. And now they sees Higgs, probably knows this outfits, and they're just making sure that this team has no chance at keeping that first place spot intact.
No way they just box up Higgs and like, yeah, you're not going anywhere, son. You're staying right here with us. And then they're letting Cold and Ritual come back. Peterbot puts down Higgs before the backup even arrives. What is going on right now? We are watching a clash of the biggest titans in the Fortnite community right here and now, in much different stakes on the line, right? Peterbot is going to globals. This trio's going to globals already. Clix's trio has to keep fighting for it. They need to earn it this time.
Clix, Higgs, Yamzo started this game 36 points ahead of Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. And they're I feel like they're just saying, hey, we're going to close that point gap, just farming eliminations onto you guys alone. That's 12 points straight off eliminations, closing the gap. It's only a 24-point difference going into the rest of this game as Cooper, Curly, and Reet, they notice the zone has a different trajectory this time around, pulling towards the south finally, what could be the first time today in FNCS in general. And so they're going to use that armor truck that they're able to get early on, along with those extra heals, to rotate as quick as possible and beat every single one of these teams on that rotation.
I was just about to say, for clix, Yamzo, and Higgs, it's almost like Peterbot is taunting them too, right? Because they could keep following them, they could take them down, but it's almost like, hey, how badly you want to go to globals, bro? Right? Like it's crazy, because there could be a little bit of that extra intentional, like, yeah, let them get away. Let's keep it interesting. It's almost what it feels like here in Game 6. But you got to think about it. Every time they get taken down like that and set back, they're not earning surge. They're losing damage. Things are getting reset. Ultimately, they are definitely falling behind right now. This is going to be an extremely rough game in a couple of moments.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if they figure out a way to make it work, keep their first place position intact, almost begs to ask the question going into day 2, what do you do to stop clix, Higgs, and Yamzo after what just happened to kind of close out the last game of the day, as they're trying to turn it back. They know Crime City, relatively unlooted. Let's just try to get whatever scraps that we want left behind, kind of fill out the loadout before we continue to rotate in. For them and a bunch of the other teams on the south side of the zone, this is a much different ball game, because now they actually have a chance to set up, a chance to kind of position themselves the way they want to.
Already on the move right now. This is a team that's on the hunt. It's happening over here. Surge bases set up. Almost business as usual for Acorn, Agers, and Boyer right now.
Man, top 7 in the last 11 NA FNCS finals. Is that 3 years? 3 majors a year, give or take. Nah, that's almost 4 years of top 7. That is just incredible consistency of one of the best IGLs. Surrounds himself with some of the best players and brings out the best in those players. That's just a testament of the type of person he is.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. Shadow Curve and Tyler just trying to get back into the mix here. 4 eliminations this game, so a very active game for the Young Bucks here. And they're at 215 points. You gotta give any team that has broken that 200 threshold tons of credit, but this is what we knew would happen. This is what we expected. clix, Higgs, and Yamzo being set back so much is gonna force them into just, again, situations that they haven't put themselves in today, given how the zones have kind of played out in their favor. And somehow they luckily get a full reset here, and he managed to actually save Higgs. Or Yamzo here, who was down right now. Like, I didn't even think that was going to be possible. It was looking like it was about to be all over.
Like another reboot was coming in store. That was my thoughts. But there's a second team. G-Money, Bryce, and Osid trying to sneak up towards that mountain. Seeing what all this noise is about. It's Golden Void and Ozone have to be very, very careful. They've been kind of separated, put into a shambles situation. And there's another team on top of that mountain as well. So I think clix, Yamzo, Higgs getting some storm surge that they need, damage for what's happened in the early portion of the game, and then just to disengage altogether, especially since where the zone is kind of ending up. It does look like it is going to pull in their favor.
Just looking at the heals here as we're starting to assess this end game right now. Threats, Booga, Rapid, Seaport City getting a little bit of love right now for the first time, coming into the mid game right now. So no rush for this trio to make a move just yet.
I like that.
Just
Threats leads all players for damage dealt. Almost 6,800 damage. Even with a lot of those north pulls, I feel like that's been the key to their success in being able to accumulate that storm surge. When teams have to rotate time and time again, zone after zone, game after game, they're crossing through their paths. And they've conditioned a lot of the teams just south of Seaport City to either rotate through us, you're going to get surge tags, or go somewhere else altogether.
Already on the move right now. This is their final kind of stretch here to start getting situated before they have to move out of the Seaport City. Hellhound had that mountain before. He's just hiding out right now. Not trying to get caught out by Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, who are likely on the hunt for him right now. Peterbot's game sense letting him know, hey, there's only so many places you could be. However, it's kind of like a rhino, you know? You just don't move, you can't be seen. Hellhound manages to kind of escape here. Oh, no. But the teammate ain't looking too good. He's a little too close to the fire.
His teammates probably tell him, it's okay if you get eliminated. Just buy me time. Just take him far away. I'll get our other duos reboot. We'll get back in the game, and we'll come back for your card as Peterbot quickly shuts him down in a 1v1 situation, replenishes the materials, and he's back on the run yet again. This is just an incredible situation.
This is where Peterbot really starts to gain his confidence, right? When you see him start to have fun in the game. You know, the first couple games he was falling early. He was almost out of his zone, right? Out of the element, but come game 6, puts it all on the line, starts to really make a case for the evening here. And now we're just seeing a different type of stride coming out of him. I was going to say, I wouldn't put it past him to have a game 6 victory to kind of close out strong here this evening, but we'll just see. So plenty of zones ahead of us. Sphinx, Bolts, and Kanata, though, sitting 800 damage above the Surge right here. No pressure in sight for this trio right now.
I honestly think it's very, very important for both Sphinx and Kanata to have at least a top 3, if not a win, in this last game of the day. They got the zones after traveling one of the most far distances out of every team in the lobby. It begins to kind of hinder your mental game. So they have to try to figure out a way to make it work, as Higgs, Clix, and Yamzo in a very, very similar and dire situation. You see the low amount of materials onto Higgs overall. That's Shadow, that's Curve, and Tyler on the other side, and a big shot already going to open up. Shadow just dropped down, Curve as well. Everybody dispersing into different directions, trying to figure out a way to survive. Unfortunately enough for Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs, they have not been able to pick up a knock or an elimination just yet.
I was going to say, those other third-party teams are starting to shoot in, so that is so unfortunate that they didn't get to finish it. They absolutely needed a refresh right there, and now Clix is the only one with a little bit of extra material here. They're going to have to go ahead and play this building to go ahead and refarm as much materials as possible off the structure here. And just a huge, huge setback. Again, this is all off of the fact that they were pushed by Peterbot out of their draw spot early on. And in the best case scenario right now is this team falls here and now. But again, unlikely, as they're sitting at the front side of Storm right now, front side of Zone, looking to thin out the lobby.
Uh-oh. Disaster strikes yet again. Really unable to get themselves in a comfortable situation because of the start that you were talking about. But now they find themselves in a 3v2. Clix is down. They don't really have any loot, no heals, no materials. And now Yamzo's going to fall right on top of that. 462 damage above the threshold is the only real blessing that they do have on their side. For Higgs, having no HP to regain, he's going to need a miracle as he spots threats running out. He's trying to follow suit and goes down. No eliminations, no placement points, 0-point game to end the day. And on the flip side, Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot, Monster, they need 9 eliminations before placement to tie it up. They're at 7.
I was just going to say, they've been doing the exact opposite this game, racking up elim after elim. They kind of found their mojo here in the last game, and they're not looking back at this point in time. This is a pretty interesting end game as well. This is ending on these mountains right here, so a complete turn of events right now. The entire script just getting tossed out the window.
I mean, they did say they didn't want a North Zone anymore. And, well, now we don't have a North Zone. So it's one of those situations you got to be careful what you wish for. Because now we're on the mountain edges. Hard to make your way up. Rapid goes down. At least he was able to bring some of the loot on over to Threads, but not a single HP heal. And even if there's some just a little bit further down the mountain, Threads cannot get to them.
Threads at 4 HP. And no heals is just absolutely shambles. I haven't had a real need to use that word today on broadcast, but this is it right here. This is the definition. by Fortnite terms here. He's got nothing to work with. He can't even go into the zone to pick up the heals. Agers ends up diving down on him. Acorn ultimately gets the elimination there. Meanwhile, Reet, Curly, Coop have a chance now to jump back up, put themselves in the conversation of a top 3 finish here. They've got a little bit of a mountain position as well.
And they're honestly only 21 points behind third place, which ironically enough was Rapid, Booga, and Threats. For Reet, Cooper, and Curly, this could be the game that at least gets them into the top 3. Maybe more, depending on where they actually finish as Agers, Acorn, Pollo, just taking the side of the mountain. They're confident that the surge that they have at this stage of the game means no real risky situations. They can kind of bunker down here on the side of the mountain where not many teams will be able to see them due to that line of sight, and just hope, cross their fingers that the zone pulls onto their side of that mountain.
I was gonna say, do keep in mind, again, this is the first full, like, kind of southern zone. It's going east now. It's just very different kind of end game playing out here. And look at it's a different story too. Look at the damage threshold put onto Muzz, Rise, and Jabcode. So much pressure here for them to perform right now. They see a team rotating dead side. They start to trickle in and try to tail behind them. Muzz, though, just cautious of the fact that there might be a team above them. Someone, oh, is that Rise's body? Yeah, unfortunately gets eliminated right here. He's just gonna have to pick up what he can here. And this is just all looking bad right now. They don't even have time to really set up, trying to fish for damage at all.
Just disaster, because you don't even go down. That's what we saw happen to Rise. He took a tick of that Storm Surge, straight eliminated. Luckily for Muzz, though, he was able to pick up the materials, the minis that he did have in his inventory. And now they're just staggering themselves back. They're going to be able to kind of use what little bit of elevation they have, survey the land, and then rotate in towards the zone. But they got to be careful because they're rotating right into Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. We spotted them out for a near moment, but right now they have their plans set in stone, trying to figure out what else is going to kind of get thrown their way. Where this next zone pulls is going to be important. If it pulls towards the west, yet again, we're going up the mountains. Anywhere else would be a saving grace for the majority of the lobby.
And you can see Peterbot gave that information to Cold as he was looking back for that team that was rotating in. Muzz's trio barely, narrowly escapes away on high ground. The Major 1 champions, Boyo, Agers, Acorn, have this under situation fully locked in stone right now. Take a look at the quick elimination off the Chimp there to kind of set themselves up for the high ground positioning now. Low ground being played perfectly right now to Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual's success here. They're the first to get there. They have the heavy material count, kind of building this catacomb out now.
Yeah, and we officially have a new first place team with those 7 eliminations and the 3 teams worth of placement. Cold, Ritual, Peterbot are now at the top of the mountain. Not literally, because you see them all the way on the low ground. The zone did pull towards the west, so they got to make their way up the mountain regardless. Cold goes for an elimination and instantly becomes the target of the lobby. A decision he's going to have to think twice about next time, as everybody's just trying to make their way up. Sooner is going to be better, because then you don't have to get pressured by every other team that is going to be above you. But for Coop, Curly, Reet, even with that elevation, they're pressured by Storm Surge, 167. A couple of shots are going to land, still 135. Even with more, they're still below the damage threshold by 71.
You gotta give a ton of respect right now to Coop's decision-making, reading the zone perfectly, position himself up and over, kind of into a prime position to go out and even fish for this type of damage right now. However, they're still below. It hasn't been enough. It's going to come down to that quick piece up right there. For no, he missed the shotgun shot. His team's there to follow up. And on high ground, Agers is barely holding on because Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual are trying to fight their way up this mountain as well. But Ritual's going to fall here just inside top 13, but it's not over yet.
Peterbot really leading the charge, waiting for Cold to reunite, recharge a lot of that sprint. So that when they make that final run, it's a lot easier, but the flank comes in. Peterbot with a good shot, quickly binds his way on out. 50 HP. Now the zone is on their tails from one fight to the next. Now it's up against the V. Dips right back in, but he needs the elimination, and he gets it. Oh my gosh. Peterbot is him, and now he's by himself.
Just so clean with it right there. The sliding shotgun shot, let the zone do the rest. It was just too smooth for him right now. Frontside rotate here to put him way in into position here and now. Still a couple zones to close out here. He's got to play for these elims. One big pickup. This is what Peterbot does best. And he is just racking up points here, breaking away with a monstrous lead to set him up for a successful day 2. Nice little mad find here. Go ahead and buy him a little bit more room.
Yep, building that confidence right now as he's going from team to team, trying to find these opportunities, floating in the backside of the zone. And even when he sees one player run away, he just quickly keeps on moving to the next team as he's making his way up the mountain. Multiple chances here in front of Peterbot, but without any builds, he needs to be precise. Him versus Kanata, and Kanata takes him down. A good loot upgrade if he could just get his hands on it.
Finally, we're seeing some life come out of the teams that have kind of had a bit of a struggle on the day here. But here's the team that's managed to stay consistent.
Oh, no.
Reed, Curly, Coop, another end game, a top 5 position for them. They're going to be happy about that one. Meanwhile, Visuals and Braze playing the med miss on the high ground. All of a sudden now, Bucky, Cam, and Okus have a chance to make something big happen here. It's up against Kanata, though. Nice little edit there. Full control here for Cam, but he's got to back his way out. It's a full trio fight, but they're sandwiched, Jacob, in between multiple teams here.
They have no choice but to go and sacrifice some HP, get around on that zone, but you're seeing the position they put themselves, slivers of HP overall. They cannot do that again, and they're one of the few trios that are actually left in the game, and their opposition up above, almost full HP, full shields. The only thing that they don't got going for them is overabundance of materials, as Cam gets another elimination onto Taki down below, and this is where the drop down is slowly but surely gonna begin.
And you can see he's even willing to take the time. Braid's making sure he takes no fall damage here, inching his way down. He does not want to give this one away and puts himself in a favorable position to find Cams there for the elimination. All he got to do now is wrap it up, and this is going to be a great game dub for Braid's Diminished and Visuals here. Kanata finds himself in a 2nd place in the end. A great clutch, though. Nice little tag there. He's going to find himself a little bit of siphon. Braid's now takes some unnecessary storm damage. Kanata dips back into zone. He's going to try to play the heal off here. It looks like he's got a med kit.
Yeah, he has the chug overall, and it's going to go straight to HP, and that's why he stopped it for that moment. This could be the difference maker, because they're out of heals on the other side. Cancels it one more. In they come. Braids. They're doing what they can, but they cannot find him. They can't find him. Braids goes down, but Visuals found some extra heals at the bottom of the mountain. Every team that fell before them was his step to success. They pull off a heal-off win at the very, very, very end.
So that cheeky shotgun shot through the cracks as well, making sure he catches the elimination credit. That was a spectacular showing for Kanata to at least give himself some hope, give himself a chance, right? A bunch of points like that can set you up for a great day 2. But game 6 story, we can't lose track of it. Clearly, Peterbot has it cut out for everyone in the lobby. That